Separated for the first time from Falundine, Dirthamen wandered aimlessly till he came across two ravens. "You are lost, and soon you will fade," the raven named Fear said to Dirthamen. "Your brother has abandoned you. He no longer loves you," said the other named Deceit. Excerpt from the Codex entry, Dirthamen, Keeper of Secrets. Welcome to another theory video. I always wanted to make a video covering the Demon of Deceit and decided now is a really good time to do so. The reason being is Dirthamen and his ravens have been some of my favorite characters within the lore since I first picked up Origins and learned who the heck Dirthamen was. Thus, I'm really excited and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys listen and understand where I'm coming from with what is the Demon of Deceit. In order to understand a demon of deceit, we must first understand what it means to be deceitful. Deceit can stem from many different sources, including jealousy, love, fear, hunger, greed, and more. However, just to be deceitful means to lie. And thus, we get into the definitions of deceit. The first definition of deceit is the act of deceiving, concealment, or distortion of the truth for the purpose of misleading, duplicity, fraud, and cheating. The second definition is an act or device intended to deceive, trick, or stratagem. And the last definition is the quality of being deceitful, duplicity, and falseness. All of these share one quality. It is an act of being able to be misleading, being false, or to trick, meaning the fact that there is really no one emotion deceit stems from other than the willingness to lie. It makes the emotion or the ability to deceive quite terrifying, as it has no one source outside of raw greed or just the willingness to falsify the truth. Now, I am also going to cover something that people might point out. What about the demon of envy? Because the demon of envy is deceitful in the fact it tries to take on the faces of people it's jealous of. So we are going to look at the emotion of envy and compare it to the emotion of deceit. The first definition of what it means to be envious is a feeling of discontent or covetousness with regard to another's advantages, success, possessions, etc. The second is an object of such feelings, and the third is meaning ill will. So what does this mean for when it comes down to the demon of deceit versus the demon of envy? When it comes to envy, it is actually very brilliant to have it made to want to be the object of what it is envious of. However, being deceitful is a byproduct of this. To be envious is to want to be something you are not, or to have something you cannot have. In several Codex entries, envy even states itself that envy slips into the skin of what it is envious of, and takes on the mask of their face. However, as is seen in game, envy isn't the Inquisitor, even if they take on the face of the Inquisitor. They do not act as the Inquisitor would. To be truly deceitful, one must be misleading. Envy isn't misleading. It's sticking it to the very nature of being jealous of all of those who hold more power than it. Now, could envy stem from deceit, and thus become a subvariant of deceit? Well, not really. If we take a look at a terror and a fear demon, where a terror is a subvariant of fear, we see that terror is just a lesser and weaker form of fear. Thus, given the fact that deceit and envy are two very different emotions, even if envy can end up being slightly deceitful, it is not being a deceit demon, and thus it is not a lesser variant of deceit. However, we could state that jealousy could be a lesser of envy. However, that is another video entirely. So what is a demon of deceit? Let's take a look at what it means to be deceitful once more, and look at the words that we know of spoken by a demon of deceit in one of the Codex entries. Your brother has abandoned you. He no longer loves you. Deceit says this to Dirthamen. It's a lie. It's a very blunt lie, but a lie nonetheless. The demon is trying to trick Dirthamen into a state of vulnerability, not to take over him or because Deceit is envious of him and wants to become him, but because he is in a vulnerable state. And it can. It simply can. This is what makes the emotion or act of deceit so terrifying. It can stem from emotions such as jealousy and love, but can also just be for the fun of lying. The truly deceitful don't act from other emotions, but for the simple act of lying is what brings them what they want or how they get their way. It is also a way to form strategy in war and in other situations. This is what a deceit demon would be. It would make it one of the rarest demons in the Fade within the true form of deceit. As Solas once said, true hunger is something deeper than what is originally seen. Thus, deceit also goes deeper than the raw emotions and turns into something far more terrifying than the emotions which can mimic the act of being deceitful. Given the fact deceit means to lie or to falsify the truth, it would also make it a very difficult demon to find, making it also one of the rarest demons within the Fade, even if you could find it, simply because the true form of deceit and the ability to lie on such a level is an extraordinarily rare emotion, such as wisdom, and wisdom being one of the rarest spirits within the Fade. This is most likely why we only see references to the Demon of Deceit in regards to the lore around Dirthamen. Within the lore of Dirthamen, we see him with two demons in the form of ravens, Deceit and Fear. However, in order to keep a secret, one must be outrightfully deceitful at many times, and thus it makes sense to why he would have a Demon of Deceit, as the ability to know the secrets of others also means knowing the greatest fears of both your allies and your enemies. In order to use those fears, however, one must be able to use strategy, and thus we return to the Demon of Deceit and the definition which involves stratagem. And this is why we see such few references to the Demon of Deceit, and why a Demon of Deceit in and of itself would be very close to what I have now described. My question to you, what do you believe a Demon of Deceit is? Why? I would love to see your opinions in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed this theory video over what a Demon of Deceit is. There are a couple shoutouts in the description section of the video to a couple of my viewers for their comments on previous theory videos, as well as to the fact that one of them actually helped me come up with being able to compare the Demon of Deceit to the Demon of Envy, and forced me to do a little bit more research than I originally had for this video over the differences between the two demons. It actually threw my original theory completely out the window for a time before I actually ended up returning to it after doing all of the research with Envy versus Deceit, and Deceit as what it is. It really did force me to look into it a little bit more, and I really appreciated of that. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next theory video.